She liked you. You saw it in her eyes. You felt it in the way she leaned closer. So why did she suddenly pull away like you were the one who did something wrong? Listen to me carefully. When a woman pulls away even though she obviously likes you, it's not random. It's not chaos. And it's rarely because she changed her mind. What you're witnessing is an emotional reflex, one rooted in psychology most men never take the time to understand. At first, everything feels electric. She replies fast. She laughs at your jokes. She touches your arm. She asks questions. There's momentum, and momentum feels like progress. But here's the truth. Most men miss. Attraction creates vulnerability, and vulnerability creates fear. The moment she realizes she actually likes you, not just casually, not just for attention, but genuinely, her brain shifts from excitement to evaluation. She starts asking herself questions you'll never hear out loud. Is he serious? Will he hurt me? Am I moving too fast? Does he like me more than I like him? Do I like him more than he likes me? And here's the part that may sting. The more intense the chemistry, the stronger the emotional risk feels. Men often experience attraction as momentum. Women often experience attraction as exposure. When she pulls back, it's usually because her emotions accelerated faster than her sense of safety. And safety for her is everything. You see, most men think pulling away means loss of interest. But very often it means she's trying to regain emotional control. She needs space to process, to regulate, to make sure she isn't about to hand her heart to someone who hasn't proven steady. Now, here's where men sabotage themselves. The moment she withdraws, you panic. You double text. You over-explain. You try to fix something that wasn't broken. You demand reassurance. You become slightly more available, slightly more eager, slightly more intense, and that energy, that shift, confirms her fear. Because when she senses that her emotional distance destabilizes you, she unconsciously registers you as unsafe, not dangerous, just unstable. A woman doesn't pull away from strength. She pulls away from emotional pressure. And pressure doesn't always look aggressive. Sometimes it looks like neediness disguised as affection. Understand this deeply. When she pulls away while still showing signs of attraction, she's testing the emotional foundation, not the chemistry. Chemistry got you in the door. Emotional steadiness keeps you there. If you react with anxiety, you validate her doubts. If you react with calm, you build trust. The men who lose her are the ones who take her temporary distance personally. They interpret space as rejection. They chase clarity. They push for labels. They seek reassurance. But the men who understand female psychology lean back. They maintain their rhythm. They don't withdraw affection out of pride, but they also don't escalate out of fear. They let her miss them. And that space, it does something powerful. It allows her nervous system to settle. It allows her curiosity to grow. It allows her to feel that she is choosing you, not being pulled into you. A woman wants to feel desire, not pressure. She wants to feel chemistry, not obligation. So when she pulls away, don't ask, "What did I do wrong?" Ask, "Did I remain centered?" Because often the pullback isn't about losing interest. It's about protecting her heart. And the way you respond in that moment will determine whether she comes closer or disappears completely. There's something most men never realize about women, especially the ones who seem confident, composed, emotionally intelligent. The stronger she appears on the outside, the more carefully she guards what's on the inside. When she likes you, it doesn't just activate attraction, it activates memory. Every past disappointment, every time she trusted too fast, every moment she ignored red flags because the chemistry felt too good. So when she starts feeling deeply for you, her subconscious doesn't whisper romance. It whispers caution. And that's when she pulls away. Not because she stopped liking you, but because she started liking you more than she planned to. You have to understand this. Many women enter early dating with emotional brakes lightly applied. She's enjoying the conversation, the flirting, the connection, but she believes she's in control. Then something shifts. Maybe you open up about your childhood. Maybe you show consistency. Maybe you meet her friends and it feels natural. Maybe she catches herself smiling at her phone before you even text. That's the moment she realizes this is no longer casual. And for a woman, when feelings become real, the stakes become real. Men often move toward what they want. Women often pause to assess what they could lose. So she creates distance, slightly slower replies, fewer initiated conversations, a little less vulnerability. She's not detaching from you. She's checking herself. She wants to see if her emotions are mutual. She wants to see if your energy stays grounded when hers becomes uncertain. And here's the critical mistake many men make. They try to close the distance immediately. They interpret her emotional recalibration as rejection. They confront her. Did I do something? Are you losing interest? Where is this going? Those questions come from insecurity. And insecurity shifts attraction because when she senses that her temporary withdrawal destabilizes you, it changes the dynamic. Suddenly she feels responsible for your emotional state, and responsibility kills romance. Attraction thrives in freedom. It suffocates in obligation. When she pulls away, what she's really observing is this. Does he have a life beyond me? Does he stay busy? Does he remain playful? Does he continue being the same man I was drawn to? Or does he morph into someone seeking validation? Women are highly attuned to emotional shifts. If your voice tone changes, if your texting rhythm changes, if your confidence wavers, and once she feels that subtle contraction in you, something inside her tightens too. But when you remain composed, not cold, not distant, just steady, something powerful happens. Her curiosity increases because emotional steadiness signals security. And security is what allows her to relax into attraction instead of fighting it. There's another layer most men don't see. Sometimes she pulls away to test the depth of her own feelings. When she creates space, she's asking herself, do I miss him? Do I think about him? Does his absence create clarity? And if you flood that space with pressure, she never gets to answer those questions honestly. You rob her of the chance to choose you. A woman wants to feel that she is stepping toward you, not being chased into commitment. So when she distances herself, it's often a moment of emotional self-interrogation. Your job is not to interrupt it. Your job is to remain the man she was attracted to in the first place. Confident, purpose-driven, slightly mysterious, unbothered by temporary fluctuations. Because the truth is this, if she genuinely likes you, space doesn't erase attraction. It intensifies it if you handle it correctly. But if you respond with fear, urgency, or neediness, you transform a natural emotional pause into a permanent exit. She's not running from you. She's running from the possibility of being hurt. And how you stand in that space determines whether she feels safe enough to come back closer or decides the risk isn't worth it. Sometimes when she pulls away, it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the version of herself she becomes when she likes you. A woman who values independence, control, and emotional composure can feel destabilized by strong attraction. When she starts thinking about you more than she planned to, when she replays your voice in her head, when she feels her mood shift because of your text, that loss of internal control can scare her. Not because you're wrong for her, but because you matter. And when someone matters, they gain influence. That influence feels powerful, and power over the heart feels dangerous. So she pulls back to regain balance. You have to understand something deeply psychological here. Attraction activates attachment systems. Attachment systems activate survival instincts. And survival instincts don't care about romance. They care about protection. If she's been hurt before, especially by someone she trusted, her nervous system remembers. Even if she doesn't consciously compare you to her past, her body does. The warmth you create begins to feel like a risk, and risk triggers space. Now here's where emotional intelligence separates men. An insecure man sees her distance and thinks, she's losing interest. A reactive man thinks, I need to win her back. A prideful man thinks, fine, I'll pull away harder. But a grounded man understands rhythm. Connection isn't constant closeness. It's expansion and contraction like breathing. If you panic during the contraction phase, you suffocate the connection. When she pulls away, she is watching one thing. Does he trust himself? Not just trust her, trust himself. Does he believe he's valuable without constant reassurance? Does he stay centered even when the dynamic shifts? Because here's a quiet truth about female psychology. A woman feels safest with a man who doesn't emotionally collapse when uncertainty appears. If her slight withdrawal creates chaos in you, she subconsciously registers instability. But if you maintain composure, you become emotionally magnetic. There's another layer to this. Sometimes she pulls away because things are going too right. Yes, too right. When chemistry, compatibility, timing, everything aligns, it can feel almost unreal. And when something feels too good, the mind searches for flaws to regain control. She may question your intentions. She may analyze your words more deeply. She may slow down communication just to observe your reaction, not to manipulate you, but to measure the foundation. If you rush to define the relationship too early, you create pressure. If you demand clarity before she's processed her emotions, you create resistance. Women don't fall in love under pressure. They fall in love in emotional safety. And emotional safety requires patience. When she steps back, she is subconsciously asking, "Is he strong enough to let me breathe?" If you chase, you answer no. If you withdraw affection out of ego, you answer no. If you stay steady, warm but not needy, interested but not anxious, you answer yes. That steadiness allows her to move from fear back into desire. Because attraction thrives when a woman feels she's choosing freely, not reacting, not being convinced, choosing. Most men lose potential relationships not because they lacked chemistry, but because they failed the emotional steadiness test when uncertainty appeared. So when she pulls away, don't interpret it as the end. Interpret it as a moment of evaluation, not of your worth, but of your stability. And if you remain grounded, patient, and purpose-focused, something almost inevitable happens. Her curiosity turns into longing. Her space turns into missing you. And the distance she created becomes the reason she steps closer, this time with more certainty than before. Now let's go deeper into the part most men are never prepared for. Sometimes she pulls away, not because she doubts you, but because she doubts herself. You see, when a woman truly likes a man, it challenges her self-image. If she's used to being the emotionally controlled one, the independent one, the one who never falls too fast, strong feelings can feel like weakness, and weakness feels unsafe, so she distances herself to reestablish identity. She tells herself she needs to focus on work, on friends, on routine. She convinces herself she moved too quickly. She may even nitpick small things about you that never bothered her before. This isn't sabotage, it's self-protection. Because deep down, she knows that if she keeps moving closer, she'll eventually have to surrender something. Ego, control, emotional armor, and surrender requires trust. Here's what many men misunderstand. Attraction alone doesn't make a woman stay. Emotional safety does, and safety takes time to build. If she has past wounds, inconsistency, betrayal, abandonment, her brain will search for patterns. Even if you haven't shown any, that's why sometimes, just as things feel perfect, she creates distance. It's not logical, it's neurological. Her nervous system is asking, is this familiar chaos or something new? If your reaction mirrors past men chasing, pressuring, demanding reassurance, you accidentally confirm her fear. But if your reaction feels different, calm, grounded, patient, you create contrast. Contrast builds trust, and trust is what allows attraction to deepen without fear. There's another truth you need to hear. Some women pull away to see if your world collapses without them. Not consciously, not maliciously, but instinctively. If she senses that she has become your emotional center too quickly, it creates pressure. A woman wants to add to your life, not become your entire life. When she feels that you're rearranging your priorities too soon, texting nonstop, canceling plans, orbiting around her availability, something inside her resists because dependency feels heavy, and heaviness suffocates desire. Strong attraction requires polarity, and polarity requires two whole individuals, not one person leaning into the other for stability. When she pulls back, she's often recalibrating that balance, and your response determines everything. If you tighten your grip, she feels trapped. If you disappear completely out of wounded pride, she feels punished. But if you continue living fully, pursuing your goals, maintaining your friendships, moving with quiet confidence, she feels relief. Relief that liking you doesn't mean losing herself. Relief that she's choosing a man, not adopting a responsibility. Here's the paradox. The more you make her the center of your emotional universe early on, the more likely she is to step away. But when she sees that you value her without clinging to her, something powerful happens. Her guard lowers because now she's not afraid of being swallowed by the relationship. She begins to feel safe moving closer. Not because you chased her there, but because she trusts that closeness won't cost her independence. And when a woman feels both desire and safety at the same time, that's when her investment becomes real. Pulling away isn't always rejection. Sometimes it's her way of making sure that stepping forward won't mean losing herself or carrying you. And if you remain steady, grounded, and emotionally self-sufficient, you show her something rare. You show her that she can fall without falling apart. And that realization is what brings her back, not out of impulse, but out of genuine choice. Now let me tell you the truth most men don't want to hear. When she pulls away, it's a moment of truth. Not about her feelings, but about your frame. Because attraction is fragile in the early stages, not weak, fragile. It needs the right environment to grow, and that environment is emotional strength. When she distances herself, she is unconsciously asking one final question. Is he secure or is he dependent on my validation? If your mood shifts dramatically because her energy shifts, she feels it. If your confidence drops because her replies slow down, she senses it. If your attention turns into subtle desperation, she registers it instantly. Women are deeply attuned to emotional congruence. What you feel internally leaks externally through tone, pacing, posture, timing. You can say it's fine. But if your nervous system is in panic mode, she feels the tension. And tension kills softness. But when you remain calm, genuinely calm, not pretending, something changes in her perception. You stop being a man who needs her approval. You become a man who chooses her without losing himself. And that distinction is everything. Here's the powerful shift. Instead of asking, why is she pulling away? Ask, am I reacting from fear or from confidence? Because the right woman doesn't need to be chased into liking you. If she genuinely feels something, space will clarify it, not erase it. When you allow her room without punishment, without emotional withdrawal, without silent resentment, you demonstrate emotional maturity. And maturity is rare. The truth is, some women pull away because they're unsure. Some pull away because they're scared. And yes, some pull away because they're not ready or not aligned. But here's your power. You don't lose yourself trying to decode which one it is. You stay steady. You continue building your body, your finances, your mindset, your mission. You maintain your rhythm. You keep your standards. You don't beg for clarity. You observe behavior because a woman who truly values you will circle back with warmth when she feels safe. And if she doesn't, then her pulling away saved you time. Men often think keeping a woman is about saying the perfect words. It's not. It's about emotional containment, the ability to hold uncertainty without collapsing. When she sees that you can handle distance without spiraling, you become different from the men she's known before. You become safe, and safety allows her feminine energy to soften instead of defend. But let me leave you with something deeper. Sometimes the real reason she pulls away is because she's testing whether you value yourself as much as you value her. If she senses you would tolerate inconsistency, mixed signals, or emotional games, just to keep her attraction fades. But when she senses that you desire her without needing, her attraction strengthens. Desire says, I want you. Need says, I can't function without you. Only one of those feels secure. So, here's the question I want you to answer honestly in the comments. When a woman pulls away, do you chase reassurance or do you stay grounded in your own value? Type your answer below. Be real with yourself. And if this opened your eyes even a little, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a brother who needs to hear this. Because understanding female psychology isn't about manipulation, It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't lose himself when attraction gets complicated. And that kind of man, he doesn't fear distance. He understands it.